So, this past summer, on my journey to discover happiness and meaning in life, I decided to study abroad in Mexico. Mexico is not only the place of my heritage, but also a highly stigmatized place of the world, especially in the southwestern United States. When I arrived at the airport, I stepped past customs, and I was approached by this young man around my age, and he stepped into my space and kissed me on the cheek. And it was in that moment that I knew that the human species could survive global warming. Let me catch you up. In the new millennia, a big buzzword is globalization. We know globalization to be a world without borders, driven by international investment and trade. But what we don't pay much mind to here in the first world are the negative side effects of globalization. Some of them are violence and conflict, human refugee crisis, and global warming. It's our responsibility as privileged people in the first world to pay attention to these things because we benefit most from them. And it's our responsibility to preserve humanity amidst globalization. 200 miles from where we stand right now, there's a war going on. In northern Mexico, the drug cartels are fighting over territory. We know that. But what we aren't paying attention to is NAFTA. NAFTA is the North American Free Trade Agreement, an economic policy of globalization that allowed the United States to pump corn into Mexico and pump money into our economy. And a negative side effect of that was that Mexican farmers could no longer harvest this crop. They couldn't make money off of it. So they had to leave. They left their homes, they left everything that they knew, crossed a dangerous and deadly desert, and came into a country that doesn't welcome them because they're illegal. Illegal immigration is a fallacy because it does not take into consideration the circumstances that cause people to leave everything they know in search of something else. And what do? We get scared. We invest money and security and policy into securing a border. This is not justice. These are crimes against humanity. This isn't just happening here in the southwestern United States. You may recall a couple weeks ago, the Syrian refugee crisis. Our news and media will make it very known that there is violence and conflict in the United States. But what we're not paying attention to is the drought. The drought in Syria that drove people out of rural areas and into the political unrest of the urban areas, that fostered the civil war, that pushed millions of people out of Syria and into northern Europe. Could it be that global warming is causing these refugee crises? Global warming is not this mystified concept that's happening in the distant future. It's happening right now. It's destroying lands, and it's making people leave their homes. It affects us. It affects us too. It affects everybody. It's in the coffee that we drink that comes from these areas of the world, incidentally the most impoverished and more stricken. It's in the corn that we eat. It's in the gasoline that fuels our cars. Are you all okay with this? Are you okay with this paradigm that wants to secure borders and only allow X amount of people? This is our world. We're benefiting from suffering. And this is not who we are. At our core is not violence. At our core is compassion. We need to reconsider what borders are and what they mean. Borders are not a fence that separates two countries. Borders are not just vast deserts. borders occupy the spaces between us. So we have to make a decision. The next time we encounter an immigrant, are we going to trip them in their path? Or are we going to welcome them with open arms? Or perhaps a kiss on the cheek? Thank you.